first thing everyone asks is, how was it to kiss Darren Criss? Your Clairb is also awesome. Thanks for letting us break it.
Yeah, thanks for letting us break into your awesome, cool little room.
Hey, Clairb, it's your Emmy.
Hi.
What's up?
Welcome to the Clair. I'm Helen J. I play Claire in Maybe Happy Ending. I'm Hannah Kevin, and I'm a standby for Claire in Maybe Happy Ending.
And I'm Claire Kwan, and I am a standby as well for Claire in Maybe. Welcome.
I figured we could start.
I figured we could start
how we got to where we're sitting today, kind of in an aggregate form. So I started with the show. I got a silly little tape in my inbox from my agents. I then did that tape, and then I did a callback with Darren Criss. And then the next day, I was doing a production of Tea. And when I was debuting the role that I understudied at Tea, my manager. So kind of a crazy story and crazy whirlwind thing. Fast forward 6 months, and we're here, and we've been here, and we're thriving. My journey with Maybe Happy Ending started. I was in Back to the Future, the musical, when that was on Broadway, and I was getting drinks with a friend. I had been in Back to the Future for about a year. I was getting drinks with a friend, and he was like, have you heard of the show called Maybe Happy Ending? And I was like, no. And then at that time, you and Darren had been announced with the show, and this is a mutual friend of ours. Yeah. I did theater with Darren in Paper Mill Playhouse. So we went to school together. And so we were getting drinks. He was like, you should ask if they're looking for covers. And I was like, okay. So, so I went home, I looked the show up. I was like, oh, this looks cool. Like I thought, I saw the stuff that they had posted from the Atlanta production, and I asked my agents for an audition, and then I sent in a self-tape, like a song and 2 sides, and then through a long course. So basically what happened was I sent that in, and then a month later I didn't hear anything, and then I got a call from my agents about something completely different, and I was like, I should just let it, like, release it. Like I was like, if it's not for me, I guess. But I had this nagging, like, gut feeling, and I was like, hey, could you just, like, check in on Maybe Happy Ending? I was like telling my agents this. I'm sure they've already had someone, but I just had a good feeling about my tapes, and I would love to be a part of the show, and I'm just curious what happened. Next day, they called me and they were like, funny story. We actually woke up to an email about you. Woke up, asking what your outs were with Back to the Future. And from that was like on a Friday. And then on that Monday, they called and they were like, my role Claire. My story was very weird and long-ish in a weird way. I got a tape for this show when I was like on my way to California like a year ago, and I was like reading the script in the airport, and I was like, cool, and I sent in the tapes, and then I didn't hear anything back for a year, basically. And then fast forward to this past winter, I was also doing Teeth when they were doing a different production of it, and I had seen the show, and I saw the show, and I was like, I had been following the show, and I was like a big fan, and saw you in it, saw Darren in it, and it was amazing. And I was just like, oh, like I want to be in this show so badly, or just like a part of it. And I also kind of felt like there was something pulling me towards it, but I also felt like I was like, well, I've done all I can, and I must release it. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if it's not, it's not, and that's okay. And then Teeth was closing, and it was January, and then I had been like hearing whisperings of like, they're thinking about maybe getting another standby for Claire just because of technicalities. Like, I feel like I feel like on Broadway, most people have advice as well. But I was just like, okay, like there are whisperings, but I don't know anything. And I'm sure that I will have to like do a ton of like auditions and callbacks and all those things in order to hear back. So I kind of put it aside and didn't really think about it at all. And I was actually auditioning for a different role at the time. So I was like waiting to hear back on that. And Teeth literally closed. And then like a few days later, I had like a good feeling that something was gonna happen, but I wasn't thinking about this show at all because I hadn't heard anything about it. And then I get a call from my manager, and I'm literally like in bed, like I'm not even ready to be in the world. And I get a call, and my manager's like, so good news and bad news. Bad news is you didn't get that other one. It was just like coin toss, like unfortunately it didn't happen.
good news is you got an offer for being a standby.
Yes.
And I was like, okay.
Can you imagine if they led with the good news and also you didn't get the other?
Yeah.
Just so you know. Just so you know. I feel like it always happens when you're busy and when you're like thinking about other things because you don't have time and the mental space to freak out about it and like put more pressure on it. Because I feel like all the times when I'm like, Broadway audition, and then I hide myself up and psych myself out about it, it just ends up, I don't know, the nerves get the best of you, and then suddenly you're actually doing 1,000 other things, and then the audition just happens to be one of the 1,000 things that you're doing, and then you can kind of actually let yourself shine through more. I feel like it's very like, I don't chase, I attract. Like the more that you release, you're like, whatever. Like universe, I'm open, I'm ready, open heart, open mind kind of vibes. And then like, here you go.
Yeah, how do you feel like you guys have changed like the way that you think about auditioning? Like from beginning to now. I would do auditions and I'd be like, I'm gonna like try to be like what they want me to be in a way. Like I was obviously still myself and you know, like we have our own strengths and weaknesses and to like be able to show those things off. But also I feel like now I come in being like, this is who I am and I can't do any more or less. And if it works, it works. And if it's not like, then it's not meant for either of us.
I think that comes from a numbers game. I'm just auditioning a lot.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, I was like, oh, the stakes of it are so high and I want to do such a great job. But actually, if it weren't for the poopy ones that I did in the beginning, it's as long as I feel like I put my best foot forward and like was kind and respectful and receptive in the room, like you are planting seeds inadvertently, even when you don't think that you are, even when you didn't get the job. When I was auditioning, like I think I went in for Back to the Future 8 times or something like that. Like when I was in my senior year of school at UON. And the closer I got, like the more callbacks I got, the scareder I got. So I was like, oh, it feels like real and like this possibility that could happen. You're dreaming about it. Yeah. I shouldn't let me do that. But I met with my acting teacher and she gave me this book called Rapturous. And at the front of the book, it has all these affirmations. And then I say them before every audition. I said them before I went on for this. Like I say them before everything that I feel like so nervous about. And it's like, I release and destroy the need to be, I release and destroy the need to get this job. I release and destroy the need to impress them. Like I am enough. Like that sort of vibe. And just saying it out loud helps like release that pressure and those stakes from myself to be able to like go into the room and be my most whatever, authentic, whatever. So.
Because the three of us, like, I'm sure we can talk about like performing in this kind of body and being perceived in certain types of ways. And I'm sure we've been called in for a million of the same roles and whatever. But like we've all had very different and unique paths and like ways of getting here and like approaching like shows and auditioning and everything. I have learned so much just from like living life and accepting the fact that everyone's journey looks different and will feel different. Being an artist, part of that is accepting that like your life and living your life to the fullest is part of your craft. And I feel like the more I've invested in actually being like, oh, it's not all about my career and it's not all about like my craft always all the time was in, that's actually when my art and my acting and my auditioning gets better. Because I'm growing and feeding other parts of my life.
And quite frankly, this industry is so much about like resilience in the face of rejection. And I feel like and I've been guilty of this for sure, of placing my value into, you know, career things or just like tangible things that I feel like I can measure. And then the rejections are so much more detrimental and the wins also feel emptier. My Clair debut last week, and it was amazing. Like it's so funny. Like the first thing everyone asks, how is it to kiss Darren? Like that's like the first question I always get. We love him. We love homeboy. It's so like it's not even like on my mind at all, but it makes sense because like, you know, he is who he is and celebrity and all that jazz. And like we grew up with Glee, so like I totally get that. But I had like the best time on stage and like being in the moment and like having that. But the best part of my night was actually the fact that like there were so many of my loved ones that were like out there in the audience
And the fact that I got to like share that moment with so many people that I loved and cared about and who had helped me get to this place. Like that's what made it not feel empty, right? And like I was like reminded that like that's why I love it and that's why I do it. And when we get to be a part of a thing that is so like is amorphous, but like we are the concrete part, like the community that is created and the people that are a part of it, like that is what makes it live and breathe. Like I don't know, I think that's like the greatest and most ultimate gift, because it can feel so empty and like the hype only lasts for so long.
Insane. But in like a great way. In a cool, like, I mean, what you were saying, like, it's really special to share. I just feel very lucky. I feel lucky to be in this building. As you can see, we be getting along in here, this here building, and just like surrounded by by people I respect, people who I think are so good at their jobs. I think Broadway is magic. I think this show is magic, and there's just something about going on for the track that you understudy, and it's just that's magic too. Like we had a debut today. Criss Tamayo made his Oliver debut. And they always make me cry because I just think about how special that is, and because like we were all little kids and dreaming of doing this, and it just feels really, really cool to get to share that with each other. And so the week that I was on, I just like was overwhelmed. Like it was like a million people from my whole life and every part of my life, and that was like really, and to like celebrate and this really, really cool thing. And it was my principal Broadway debut, so that was really cool or whatever. We like to point to a moment and say this is special because, and let's celebrate. Like I feel like that feels rare to me. Not that I really know precedent all that much, but I feel like we celebrate one another so it goes on to their track. Yeah, from the very beginning, we've all been very much like, how best can we continue celebrating it? And my parents were like, it's actually really exciting because it feels like every review is as exciting as an opening. Like as a new show, it's a new thing. It's keeping it fresh. So let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns down below. If you like this, I think this is gonna be fun.
If you want
Maybe
us to.
yeah. Oh, who do you want as our guest?
Other than Laboon, we can bring Laboon.
Okay, guys.
Thanks for joining for Captain Clair.